Huge shout out to my good friend Baggins. Baggins, he's a tech guy, always up in the Twitter spaces with us. Huge shout out to Baggins on Twitter. He says, interesting if true. I'm going to read this out. This is originally from Stellar Stacker. And let me read this out to you guys. This is pretty incredible. Okay. So let me take a look at this. And this is in regards to the BRICS moving against the dollar, guys. So I just mentioned how, we're going to see how long we can get this, keep this party going with the United States as we see countries like Russia and the BRICS nations continue to dump. But we need to understand just how much the BRICS nations have been moving along with their program to establish a new reserve currency and to operate outside of the Western financial world, outside of SWIFT, outside of the US dollar. They're dropping our treasuries. China just dropped over 100 billion of our treasuries in Q4 of 2022, last quarter. Okay, that was 100 billion of US treasuries got dumped. Go back to the article that I just read you guys. Our treasuries talking about buying defaulted treasuries. Well, the treasuries, we've already defaulted. We just haven't publicly admitted it. And so we're already buying back. There's already a buyback of our treasuries taking place right now as we speak. And then in 2020, when Trump switched it up there with the Treasury and the Fed, that's when we started buying corporate debt too. Not just buying U.S. treasuries, we started buying corporate debt as well. And then we sent out all the money and we flooded the streets of America with cash. Stimulus payments. And the simulations continue. Now, BRICS, let's break this situation down, guys. This is very interesting. And cheers, everyone, for tuning in tonight with me. Thank you. And this was put out on February 19th. When it comes to the reconstruction of the global financial system, the GCR, flying under the radar, which is the global currency reset, the GCR, global currency reset. When it comes to the reconstruction of the global financial system, flying under the radar is the further development of the BRICS. BRICS members are expanding their influence in the global financial system by offering an alternative global payment system. At present, the 5 original members, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, control 30% of the world's total land surface and 41% of the world's population. They contribute 16% to world trade and about 24% of global GDP. The BRICS counterpart is the G7. Canada, France, Germany, Italy, and the United Kingdom, US, and the European Union. The two main factors where they differ are the populations they serve, over 3 billion in the BRICS as opposed to 987 million in the G7, and GDP, where the G7 is currently 33.93 trillion, and the BRICS are about 23.5 trillion. And remember, the BRICS are growing, right? They just haven't formally done the deals yet, but they're getting, signed behind the scenes. They're the handshakes. They're doing handshake deals behind the scenes here with all of the BRICS plus nations that we always talk about whenever we talk about the BRICS, right? This is much more than just those original 5 at this point. While BRICS members are not well represented in the global financial system, their collective GDP could reach half the global GDP of by 2030. And, distributed ledger technology, cryptocurrencies, digital assets is only going to enable that further. As we bring them online and then we start to use distributed ledger technology, they're going to have all of the access that they need to all of the tools, right? It's just a matter of some of these other countries are rolling forward with some cbdcs that are interesting, and we'll just be nice by saying that. With the potential inclusion of new countries, this could happen much quicker than expected, as we're talking about right here. An expanded BRICS could account for more than half the world's population, including countries with younger populations and rapid population growth. They would also hold, our population's in decline in the West, in the G7 nations. They would also hold 60% of known global gas reserves, 45% of known global oil reserves, and significant quantities of natural resources like water and rare earth minerals. Add in Saudi Arabia. Recently, we see deals done, right? Saudi Arabia, with Xi Jinping and with Putin getting it done. Absolutely. Outside of the US dollar. I mean, that number goes up quite a bit, right? This is conservative in these numbers. Recently, Because right here, they would also hold 60% of known global gas reserves and 45% of known global oil reserves. You add Saudi Arabia to that. I mean, you add some of the Middle East countries that are tired of the U.S., and they have good reason to be. And I'm tired of the U.S. dollar as well. I'm tired of my government as well. Absolutely. I understand your frustration. I'm ditching the dollar too as fast as I can. I just have to pay my taxes with it, and I have to use it to pay my team and pay my bills. Recently, starting in 2018, the BRICS are engaging in developing a potentially new reserve currency called the R5 or R5 Plus, based on the first letters of the currency of the original BRIC countries: Real, Ruble, Rupee, Renminbi, and Rand. Their BRICS reserve currency is a potential rival to the US dollar in the IMF's special drawing rights currency. SDR's special drawing rights is the currency used by the IMF for loans to member countries. Along with the new reserve concept, the BRICS have already developed a counterpart to the IMF called the New Development Bank, or NDB. They have their own, basically global, supranational development bank established between these nations now. And they're giving out loans that are not denominated in US dollars. Multiple countries have ratified their participation in the NDB, Egypt, as of February 2023. Interesting to note that Egypt is a Ripple partner. We got big banks in Egypt working with Ripple, absolutely. The implications of the BRICS activities will have transformational consequences to the global financial system. A larger BRICS group would have greater control over key trade routes, exports, and supply chains, and with an alternative payment system, move to compete with the US dollar and current flawed Western financial banking systems. The Bank of Indonesia, a GCR basket currency, has called on the exporters to stop payments in US dollars. China, Japan, Thailand, and Malaysia have already agreed to use the BRICS two-way payment mechanism and de-dollarizing, with Singapore and the Philippines planning to join the system. What did we just hear from Ripple? That they just put, 4 or 5 more executive boots on the ground, business development guys back on the ground there in Singapore. Interesting. Philippines, massive corridors fired up there in the Philippines. Absolutely. Tranglo. And Malaysia, absolutely, have already agreed to use the BRICS two-way payment mechanism and de-dollarizing, with Singapore and the Philippines planning to join the system, with the European Union also looking to de-dollarize. The BRICS format could also be a strong alternative. So even though the European Union's aligned with us militarily, they're all facing austerity measures. I mean, we're seeing protests in France right now because Macron's trying to raise the retirement age for the pensions, and, the people are in the streets. Even the European Union, we're aligned militarily, but they're done with our dollar. When you look at these global factual circumstances, they are just another of the mechanisms surrounding the implementation of a GCR, global currency reset or revaluation. It's like the search for the Holy Grail, where the search is the Holy Grail. We keep looking for a GCR, but fail to see that the mechanism that build the GCR is the GCR, and the road is just about built. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.